you remember when I did not understand how I used to stand under all the fool's rules running these lands? I had my head in the sand and I was asleep. Now I learn a little more every day, and I'm waking the sheep. Gonna say it out loud, say it proud, get it out, 'cause I'm burning inside, cannot hide it no more. I'm a raconteur too. Yeah, I'm a raconteur too. Oh, I'm a raconteur too. Oh, the people in the chat room singing. Oh, I'm a raconteur too. One more time now. Oh, I'm a raconteur too.
And good evening, welcome to Raconteurs News. It's Monday night, it's the 12th of March 2018. 2018, how you doing? Hope you had a great weekend. I certainly didn't. It was a very quiet weekend, but yes, we're through it. And listen, thanks to everybody who sent me messages, goodwill messages from last week. I wasn't very well. I took ill on the Monday night show, and I wasn't really up to the Tuesday night show. So thank you to everybody who sent me a message. I had plenty of messages from people wishing me well, and yes, I'm in the best of health at the moment. The greatest that I've been in for quite a while. Oh, here we go. Let's go live. We are broadcasting live on raconteursnews.com and also on Facebook Live as well. We're broadcasting. I've just popped that up there on Facebook Live. We've just started going. So it's Monday night and we've got some good stuff to talk about. We've got a guest lined up, and that's Kenny Humphreys, who is from he's a paedophile hunter online. He's one of these paedophile hunters that I've noticed have been popping up all over the place. In fact, I watched my first American one this morning, which was going live, which was in America. And they have sort of like a different style there to what they do here. What they do here, they wait for the coppers, and the coppers come and take away whoever the offender is. But in America, the one that I watched this morning, they just really got them to piss off, just told them to piss off and bugger off, and just called them names, and then said they were going to submit all the stuff that they got to the police, but they didn't detain the bloke. I think that's the difference between here and I do apologise. Here and in America. In America, they're probably not authorised to detain people, whereas here we have common law, so you can detain somebody who has committed a crime. But I watched my first one. Hopefully, we will be able to get Kenny on. He's having one or two problems with his Skype at the moment. He's having one or two problems with his Skype at the moment, and hopefully he's going to be able to get it updated and join us. But apart from that, the good news is I'm joined by my co-presenter and Raconteurs News newest recruit. Wanted to be in on the weekend show, but we just sort of did it out of necessity, really. But he's back anyway. Paul Webster, how are you doing, Paul?
I'm great, thanks, Jason. Really looking forward to this one.
Well, I am as well. It's a shame that we can't seem to get him on. If there's anybody out there that's on that knows our guy Kenny Humphreys and can help him with him updating his Skype, then that'd be brilliant. What's your thoughts on these pedo hunters, Paul?
Well, I think it seems to have come out of a necessity because, as we were talking to Michael Feely a couple of weeks back, people who have phoning the police, they're just getting crime numbers, and that's for things like burglaries where there might be forensics there and things like that. So I think if the likes of John Wedger, who's a high-profile detective constable who's getting, whitewashed and things pushed under the carpet because he's knocking on large doors, then I tend to think that the police aren't going to be that bothered about somebody in a backwater town who's wanting to go and meet somebody. And I think it seems to have kicked off big time the last 2 or 3 years that people they are making a difference, Jason. I think we've had this conversation quite a few times. The only thing that seems to be up for debate is like what you've just been saying, that should they be going out live while they're detaining them, or should they film everything and then turn everything over? I think that's probably the only debate really that's raging on how this evidence is being presented at the end of the day.
Yeah, my first introduction into this sort of arena, not particularly into the things that we talk about, but I've been on alternative media. I went on. Me and a friend of ours was a friend of mine was. We went to Rotherham when they were doing the child abuse. They were doing a demonstration outside the town hall for child abuse, and we did a story, and we did an interview with a woman whose children had been taken off her, and it's quite a story. I mean, you can watch this. It's on my YouTube channel, Alter Edge Media, on my YouTube channel. It's on there, and we did an interview with somebody who was protesting outside, and what had happened is her daughter had been taken away from her a number of years ago and had been abused. And had been, she wasn't taken away from her. She'd given her daughter to social services to look after because she was the main witness in a murder case. So what she said is, she said, I want my daughter out of the way until this is all done with. Because the bloke who was up for murder was her boyfriend, her partner. So what she said is, can you take my daughter away and keep hold of her until the case is done? And I think that was because he'd escaped prison. He'd escaped from prison, and while he was on remand, and she was obviously, as the key witness, wanted to protect her daughter. So she asked social services to look after her daughter, which they did, but they wouldn't give her back. That's the thing. They wouldn't give her back. And she was sent. Oh, if you look on my YouTube channel, you'll see the video. It's Rotherham Mother. It's from about 2014. It's a few years ago now. It's nearly 4 years ago. But what happened was, when her daughter became 18, she'd been passed from pillar to post, and she'd been abused a lot of times. And when her daughter turned 18, her daughter then became pregnant, and they took her grandson away for no reason whatsoever, apart from she'd been in care. So the daughter had been in care. I think I'm okay saying the names. Holly had been in care, and her daughter, and she'd given birth to a child, and the child was straight away taken into care, simply because they said that because Holly had been in care, then she would be perhaps an abusive mother. It was just a load of nonsense. But anyway, I did this interview, and this really what started me on this is I did this interview with her outside Rotherham Town Hall, and we kept in touch, and I ended up being on UK Column with her. And the interview went viral. I mean, I think someone in Daily Mirror sent it around everywhere, and it went viral. Well, viral as for one of my videos anyway. We're talking about 30,000-40,000 views, whereas my videos usually only get like 1,500. I even got that one where coppers burst into my house. He's only got 5,000 views on it. So it got like 40,000 views on it, and so as it transpired, we managed to get the young girl's son back. with because of the publicity of the interview that I'd done with her, and because it had been sent everywhere and it had gone all around the world, she got offers of help and ended up getting her child back. So this is what this sort of thing can do. You know, just general journalism. It's not. I'm not. You know, I don't want to be claiming any sort of moral victories or anything like that. But general. If you just do something, it can have a huge effect. So anybody who wants to have a look at that, just go onto my YouTube channel, and on there you will be able to see the interview that I did do with Joanne, who was the grandmother, and we really got results with that. And I went on UK Column. That's how I first started really in this. I ended up on UK Column, and then Andy came along, and we decided that he wanted to leave his ex. so we got him on here. So, hey, listen, we've got Kenny Humphreys hopefully joining us, but he doesn't seem to be able, and he seems to be not around at the moment. Any clue on that, Andy?
No, I'm still seeing that Kenny's showing as unavailable and he hasn't added me, so there's nothing I can do until he gets that sorted. Sorry, dude. I was just going to say, it's all a lie. You fucking seduced me.
As is my way. Well, if we can't get Kenny on, we'll probably just do an hour, me and you talking, Webby, and also Andy as well. We don't want to disappoint the listeners with nothing, but also we don't want to bore them with the same old crap. So, like you said. Webby, I watched one last night. With one of these pedo hunter things, an American one, and it was a lot different to the British one. So the British versions, do you get? I mean, the guys that we were supposed to be talking to tonight are from up your way. I mean, is there more paedophiles in the Northwest than there is anywhere else?
No, do you know what? I think they're pretty much. Spread out. Nationally, if not internationally, but it sounds like he's up from around Liverpool, that type of way. But it's as you've just been saying, Jason. These are just ordinary people. They're not even journalists or whatever people want to call journalists, because I'm in touch with people who claim to have been journalists for over 30 years. And they don't want to touch some subjects because, it might damage their reputation or whatever. But these people have found that they needed to do something. There is obviously an online problem where grown adults are actually engaging in conversations with children, and these decoys are stating, I'm 12, I'm 11, blah, blah, blah. Does that matter? And then it doesn't matter until the court, and then the sorry. And it's that sorry bit that may stop a child actually being abused, because there is always that argument that there is no crime that's been committed as yet. Just chatting is not classed as crime. We can go into is the harm and loss caused? There's got to be harm and loss or loss for a crime. But the potential of this, it's got to be brought forward somehow. Whether we're getting it right or not, I'm not too sure. I did see one of the American ones this morning called The Ultimate Decoy.
That's the one I want.
Is that the one that you saw, Jason?
Yeah.
And he was
the guy that they stung was in like a yellow taxi, weren't it?
Yes, he was, and he was procuring a 15-year-old girl to have sex with him and his wife, if I remember off the top of my head. And he was half an hour away, 15 minutes away, and this guy's putting this voice on, this girl's voice, which he did actually sound like a 15-year-old girl when he was talking to him on the phone. And the guy turned up and said, no, I didn't know the age, I didn't know this, blah, blah, blah. And then here's the video footage, here's the conversations, and we have that with the guys and the girls that are doing it over here. That you know, I mean, I must have seen at least 3 foreign nationals doorstepped over the weekend. You know, so and these are the ones who are potentially saying, oh well, it's all right in my culture. I mean, we've had a high court hearing, I think last week it was, where the defence was stating that it's okay to have sex with a child of underage in that particular religion. When it then goes into the debate where you can get dragged off into religion and racism and all this rubbish. It's the fundamental substance of the subject that we need to talk about. Is the child abuse going on? Of course there is. What can be done about it? Well, this is only just one facet. If the police can use plastic police to collect revenue, then why aren't they using plastic police to potentially stop a groomer committing a crime?
It does seem weird, doesn't it? That you know, that we're not getting that we're having to do this as a society rather than the people that we employ to do this sort of thing. They're not doing it. They're just. But I think that an important point that you made is that they will argue that a crime's not actually being committed. Now, in order for a crime to be committed, there needs to be two aspects. One's called the actus reus, which is the act itself. So if it's Latin, actus reus, and the other one is the mens rea, which is the state of mind. Did you mean to do it? Now, in each of these cases, the mens rea is there because simply they've turned up, so they're meeting a child. So that mens rea is there. Now, the grey part for me is the actus reus, because the actus reus, the act has not happened. The grooming, I suppose, is the act as well, but that's going to be really difficult to prove on some points, isn't it?
It is as well. The mens rea is the ultimate. That's the hardest one that they can you can actually prove. This is why that something like evidence being brought forwards in a high court hearing saying, well, this isn't against his religion. Their religion is tolerant of this type of thing. So therefore, there is straight away you've cast a doubt upon mens rea. What was his intention? Well, I've only come here to talk. Well, why have you got condoms in you? No, this is where the debate starts. Should we be debating that live on Facebook? Because is that potentially damaging a court case? You know, can we bring that information forward into a court case if it's already been heard in front of 3,500, 4,000 people online? That, I think, is where some of the police are saying that they can't, you know, this is why they don't get to prosecute these people. But the factor is, you know, the argument again is that you're putting the shit up somebody that potentially may not even bother talking online again. So there's a lot of pros and cons. The factor is, Jason, we discussed it only with Michael last week, that the police are not there to do what they're meant to do. They're meant to protect life and property. If grooming gangs is not threatening to life, then I don't know what the police force are for then, apart from collecting revenue.
Yeah, well, we know that anyway, don't we? They're there to collect revenue and to wake people up at 5 o'clock in fucking morning when they want to do a fucking police chase and crash outside our house. So that's all. We know that the police force is there, but you know, when you talk about when we're talking about these grooming gangs and these things, the mens rea and the actus reus have to be the sort of the switched, if you will, because normally you would get something, an actus reus, something that somebody does, and then you would find somebody that's done it, and then find out what the state of mind was at the time that they were doing it, whether they meant to do it or not. But in this case, it's switched, in it, because you found at mens rea, you know exactly what they want to do and what they're going to, but proving the actus reus, the act itself, is ultimately difficult, and it's difficult for it must be difficult for courts.
Yeah, I would say that's right, because you've got the guilty mind, if you like. The fact is that they've made the arrangements, they've turned up, but then it's, well, I wasn't going to do anything. Well, the factor is nothing has happened. So there you have, you've only got the intention. Now, if we're going to start convicting people on intentions and possibilities, then we're looking at like Minority Report type stuff, which in these cases, I can see where a lot of people would justify what is going on. But on the opposite hand to that is, you know, being devil's advocate, you'd have to say, well, can we allow people to be prosecuted for something that hasn't actually happened? Because it's worrying that you could set a dangerous precedent with that.
Yeah, it's a bad precedent. It is. It's a difficult grey area, but again, we've got to applaud these people that are. I'd say we have to applaud these people that are doing these things, because even if they're not convicted, they are outed, aren't they? I mean, most people who know them will know who they are.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was like there was a guy on last night who got doorstepped, and his sister was there, and his sister was advising him, don't say anything. No, he doesn't need to come out. He can stay in here. And as soon as they started to talk about this 12-year-old girl, and you just texted her, haven't you? Yes, I have. And you just asked her for sex, haven't you? Yes, I have. You could see his sister look at him, look at the camera, and then look at the floor and think, fuck, what have I got myself into here? You could see the realisation on this woman's face. Now, he doesn't have to do anything. I mean, the fact that they still talk to these people on camera outside the house, it seems, you know, that doesn't seem real to me, because I think that they get caught that much on the hot foot, like they don't know how to react to these people who've got camera in front of them. And the factor is that these people are taking it upon themselves in their own time to try and make a difference, because we've got a massive problem with paedophilia in this country, not just this country, but this country definitely. And we can see that it's permeated the judicial system, the banking system, the police, politics. It's rife through everything, and we've got to make a start somewhere. The police aren't going to start with the likes of the people that are getting doorsteps. The people who are getting doorsteps are the ones that, when the police catch them, they're part of a net. They're never going to go after one and then all of a sudden, you know, open this massive paedophile ring up. But when you do get the police who can do that, the likes of John Wedger, who opens this Pandora's box up and says, look at this. And then all of a sudden, he's harassed, they're trying to get him out of the job, they stop his money, and it's because he was knocking on bigger doors, and they were getting closer and closer to Parliament, Westminster politics. When this starts to break up, everybody knows, there's not one fucker that I ever speak to who doesn't think that paedophiles are rife in Parliament and politics. So what do we do about it? That is, you know, you're not going to get paedophile hunters going doorstepping number 10 Downing Street. That's not going to happen. So the factor is that they are showing, the highlighting, if you like, what problems that we have got in this country, what the police are actually up against, because they're not funded in these units to deal with this kind of thing. And then especially when you've got, as we've got in Rotherham and Rochdale and all these other places where these grooming gangs have been proved, then you start to find out where the police were covering up. It's not PC, it's not this. You look over in Sweden, you've got rapes up 400%. You've got no-go zones where police won't go. Is that what we want here? You know, if we start talking about we don't want that here, we're called racist. Well, bollocks. I'm not fucking racist. I want me family and my friends to be safe.
Well, you see over here in South Yorkshire, we've got these in Rotherham particularly. It's come out that the police were also abusing these young girls at the same time. So it seems like we've got this problem. And also, if you think about it, I was thinking about it earlier on, and when you've got multiculturalism, you've got cultures where it's acceptable to have sex with perhaps a 12-year-old girl. You know, so when you get all these people and they're all in one place, and you've got people coming from countries where perhaps it's more acceptable, the younger girl to be with younger girls. I know there's cultures where they can marry at any age, like 9, 10, 11, 12, whatever. But when you get people coming over and mixing in with the indigenous population, and their culture means that they can have sex with a child, or they can marry a child, or whatever. I mean, do you think that that's part of the bigger plan to be able to make it more normal? So what we do is we say, right, well, we have to make some exceptions because there's some cultural differences between people, and so then that goes, it sort of filters down and filters through until it's acceptable for us, for white indigenous people that were born here, or in fact, not even white, I mean white, black, or whatever, people that were born here, who understand that it's you need to wait until I mean, 16, age of consent, and it really should be 18, but for me anyway, it should be 18, but 16 years is the age of consent. Do you think that there's some sort of agenda using this multiculturalism to try, because we know that the people that are at the very top, they're all into this sort of weird shit, aren't they? They're all into these kids and all that sort of shit. They're fucking evil bastards. We know it. Not all of them, but a great majority of them. Now, do you think that they're using this multiculturalism, amongst other things, to try to make it, try to normalise sex with a child?
Without a shadow of a doubt. Without a shadow of a doubt, there's an agenda to normalise paedophilia. And it's been there for a long time. We only have to go back to the late 70s, 80s, early 80s with the paedophile information exchange. There's Harriet Harman, they're still involved in fucking politics now. These people have looked at photographs of children who are being abused, and they state that you can't tell whether the child enjoyed it or not from a photograph. What? You can't tell whether a child, an 8-year-old child, is enjoying having sex with a fully grown bloke or not. You can't tell that from a photograph. They were wanting the age of consent lowered to 10 then, in 1980. You've got pole dancing lessons for 5-year-old children. This, you know, you've got 40 to 50 kids being taken between the ages of 5 and 11 to transgender clinics. How people can't say there's something being pushed here? You're either not looking, or you're completely indoctrinated into whatever this social engineering is. If you can't see that there's an agenda being pushed, then do you know what, Jason? I get lost for words with it, because you can only keep saying, "Look at this. Look, have a read of that. Look, what do you think of this?" And people will just make their own minds up. The paedophilia thing is definitely, it's being normalised. So and you're bringing cultures over, like you were saying, that are more tolerant, who can get married to 8, 9-year-old children. I know people, in fact, every Muslim who's identified themselves as Muslim, because, funnily enough, I don't walk around and bump into people and this first thing they say is, I'm a Muslim, or I'm Jewish, or I'm Catholic. They don't do things like that. But the people who I knew to be Muslims, especially people whose families have come over here, they've said to me, and I've lost count of how many they are, they've said to me, we came here to get away from Sharia law. My family does not agree with Sharia law. We are Muslim, but we do not follow fundamental Islam. He says, we came here to get rid of that. And these Muslims were saying they should fuck off back to where Sharia law is. Well, now, if I say that, I'm racist. But these are Muslim men and women who are saying these fuckers should fuck off. If that's what they want to practice, fuck off to a country that practices that. We don't practice that. And that is why the mass migration that we're being forced to fucking swallow every day is being done on purpose. It's weaponized migration. You've got fundamental imams who are saying that we will breed out the white Europeans. We will breed with your women and breed you out. That, if you look at the definition of genocide, that is genocide. Yet I can't mention that because I'm a white supremacist or I'm a racist, which is a load of fucking shite. And paedophilia, through this system and through the migration, it's not 1 or 2 or 3 things, it's all these things put together.
Yeah. I found myself, I've noticed I found myself in the last couple of days watching a couple of Tommy Robinson's videos and being a little bit of a Tommy Robinson sympathiser, really. And listen, don't get me wrong, I'm not on Tommy Robinson's fucking page, right? But when he's attacked and then he's attacked by 10 people and who then run off and fuck off to a mosque, and he goes and tries to find them, and he gets there and there's like a bunch of police there to protect these 10 blokes that have kicked him in. You see, this is what's happening in this country at the moment, and it's so obvious, it's so apparent that it's being done on purpose, and that we're, if you're, you see, this, we could call this middle-aged white man radio, because this is middle-aged. We're all middle-aged. Me, you, Andy, who's there. We're all middle-aged. We're all white. We're all, nobody can do anything to offend us. Nothing, can they? No, nobody can do anything to offend us. There's no offence that can be, you said this to a middle-aged white man, so therefore that's a hate crime. You can't say it. Okay? There's nothing. And that's the victim mentality that I talk about, is that it's done on purpose so that you get people saying, oh, I'm a victim of racism, I'm a victim of this, I'm a victim of that. And then you get people saying, white middle-aged men like us who can't be offended by anything, they then feel like victims because they're the ones that are perceived to be doing all this stuff. If you're not part of the victim of being bullied, then you're part of the culture of people that are doing the bullying. If you understand what I mean, and that, although it's not real, that's what people's perceptions are.
Yeah, if I'm white, I can't be offended by anybody being racist because apparently only white people can be racist. Now, I've heard that from black people, I've heard that from Asian people, that only white people are racist, which, in my reckoning, is got to be some of the biggest load of bullshit that I've ever heard in my fucking life. If you want to, blanket people and say that every white person is racist because of what white people have done throughout history, and we only ever seem to go back a few hundred years and hear about all the enslavement of black people. We don't hear about the enslavement of all the fucking Irish people. You know, they were white. Where was all the racism there? What's the crack with that? Now you've got, this is now splitting. I know we're going a bit off the paedophile subject here, but this is now bringing all the diversions and everything that's coming in. You've got one family was being evicted in Ireland the other day, and it turns out that one of the bailiffs is ex-British Army, and the guy who's evicting is ex-Irish Army. So you had a ex-British Army trying to evict Irish Army. It's not doing much good for Anglo relations, this. But they're talking about Anglo-Irish relations when it's the fucking banks that have fucking employed him to do this. But we're arguing it on the shop floor again, and it's the same with these grooming gangs. Are they all Pakistani Asian men or whatever? That's up for debate. There seems to be quite a few that are from that region, but I know the equivalent in white people who are doing this is that it doesn't matter what colour you are. You know, how many times, Jason, we say if you're a cunt, you're a cunt. It doesn't matter what colour or creed you are or what religion you follow. It's how you portray yourself. It's how you act in this life. And the trouble is, when you have got questions, and good questions, about either religions or politics or bias or whichever, then that gets twisted and it gets put into an argument. We've seen it with the interview with Jordan Peterson on Channel 4, how she kept saying to him, so what you're saying is, and he kept saying, no, that's not what I'm saying. You're saying that that's what I'm saying, but I'm not saying that. Please listen to what I'm saying so that you can understand and have a conversation instead of trying to tell me what I'm saying so it fits in with your rhetoric. And that's what I feel the Tommy Robinson stuff. I mean, I've heard fuck all from Tommy Robinson for about 3 months. Then all of a sudden, he's attacked twice within a space of a fucking week. And he's over in Italy where the elections are. What the fuck? What are you doing over in Italy where the elections are? What are you doing over there? He comes on the internet and starts saying, oh, well, now what was that media that he was part of, Jason? Was it Renegade Media or something like that?
I don't know. It might have been, yeah.
He's walked away from something. He said they wanted me out, blah, blah, blah. But they want to shut me down. They want to stop me speaking. They're going to try and shut me down. He's sponsored by fucking Israel last time I looked. There's no bastard's going to shut him down. If he's got Israeli lobbyists behind him, we're going to hear from Tommy, Stephen, Yaxley, Robinson for a long time.
Yeah. Listen, don't get me wrong. I was getting him. All I was saying is I was watching the video, and
I get that. Yeah.
You can see how people get wound up about it. You can see how, because to be fair, I was sat there and going, the fucking cowards hiding behind coppers.
Yeah. The
cowards. There were 10 of them, and one of him. And yet, he's saying, why do you need 10 of you? Why do you need 10 of you? Why do you need 10 of you? Right, it might be bollocks, it might all be set up. But I can see why it makes people angry, and I can see why people get angry about it. I mean, I don't even think these were Asian blokes. I think they were Antifa, the anti-fascist, and they're the worst, the absolute worst. You know, if somebody said to me, do you support Antifa? And I went, no, of course I don't. They're a bunch of utter wankers. And they'd say, well, so you're far right then. And they go, no, I'm not them. They're a bunch of utter wankers at all. I'm in fucking middle. I'm me. I don't need Antifa to tell me what I want. If anybody's got a fucking comment about anything, I want to hear it, right? No matter what it is, I want to hear it. If anybody's got a fucking, if there's any merit in it, then I'll listen. If there isn't, I'll just discard it. And that's what fucking grown-up people do. But you have to get these fucking groups together, don't you? These left group, these far left. Antifa, as far as I'm concerned, are worse than the far right. The far right, at least they are there. That they represent what they want, like the football lads when they all got together. Remember that one? A couple of months ago, when all the football lads, the firms, the the firms of each clubs all got together and had a rally in London, right? You know what they are, the football hooligans. It were all peaceful, but you know what they are, right? They don't claim to be anything else. Whereas if you go to Antifa and the far left, they'll claim that they've got the moral high ground. They'll claim that they want to stop people saying hateful things. But really, I mean, come on, it's only words. If you just shut the fuck up, you dickhead. You're trying to stop people from having their own opinion. And that's the fundamental thing about being human is you're allowed to have your own opinion. And if it's different to everyone else's, you can still be friends. But what you do is you just disagree on certain things.
Yeah. I think, as I found out from another radio show that I was privy to last week, that all I found out from that radio show that night was what you still cannot talk about. I could not bring up a subject that has questions about it because people say that it's disrespectful, that everybody knows that that is true. And it's not. Everybody doesn't know that that is true. That's what we've been taught. But to be able to ask questions critically is one thing. To be shouting at off other people is one thing. But to make it law that you can't ask those questions, that makes me suspicious. And everything what you're talking about, Jason, you're talking about the far left. Well, if we want to take far left ideology, keep it as far left as you want. You know, it might seem innocuous. It's that far left, a bit like introducing legislation into law that states I must address a certain person a certain way in law. So, you know, as we were talking about the transgender stuff, if they want to be referred to as a certain pronoun, be it they or Z or I don't fucking know, Z, whatever they want to be called, that's one thing. If somebody says to me, could you refer to me as Bob? Well, your name's not Bob, yeah, but I prefer Bob. I like to be known as Bob. So could you refer to me as Bob? Yeah, that's no problem, that. But to put it into law that I've got to call him Bob, that is taking control of language. Bob seems very innocuous. But what if Bob then turns into something else? What if Bob becomes a thing and not just a person? And then all of a sudden we've got to debate what a person is because persons are companies. So that one little change to the English language being put into legislation, as in law, that has a lot of ramifications that spread out.
Yeah. I completely agree with you. I mean, I'm not referring to anybody as fucking. If somebody says to me, I'm not he or she, refer to me as whatever. I'll say, look, listen. If you're not a he or a she, you're a fucking it, and that's it. You're it. I'm going to refer to you as it because it is absolutely fucking ridiculous, isn't it? Absolutely.
Well, it's going to change the whole format of conversations. I mean, you're not going to be able to make a presumption of speaking to somebody you've just first met. I mean, your first question is going to have to be, are you a boy or a girl? That's, you know, and then they're going to say, well, I'm neither. I'm non-binary. Well, what do you want me to call you, Mr. Non-binary? Oh, you just called me Mr. You presumed I'm a Mr. For fuck's sake. Where do we stop? It's fucking, you know, people have every right to be offended. But I also have a right to offend people. I don't go out to offend people. But if something that I've said offends you, and I think, oh, yeah, you've got a point there, I'll go, hey, I'm sorry about that. But fucking hell, let's get on with it. Let's move on. There's bigger fish.
Yeah. I'd like to say to anybody who wants to refer to me, I'm 21. So if anybody wants to, drop me a line, I'm a young 21-year-old guy who's on the lookout for else, it's fucking ridiculous. And you can call yourself all what you want and do what you want. I don't give a fuck. But you're not. for you to then try to impose that upon me, for me to become part of your delusion, you're having a delusion, right? If you want to be called fucking they, but you've got a penis, you're not they, you are he, right? If you want to call yourself they, fucking brilliant. Call yourself fucking they all day fucking long. But what you'll want me to do is you want me to indulge in your fucking delusion. And you want me to say, you're they. No, I'm not going to do that. Have you got a penis or have you got a vagina? If you've got a penis, I'll call you he. If you've got a vagina, I'll call you she. If you don't want to tell me, I'll call you it. But I'm not indulging in your fucking delusions that you're having at the moment.
But it seems to be the only thing that we do. I mean, if I said to somebody that, I'm not going to go out in the car today, I'll take the unicorn out, we'll go out for a fly. People aren't going to want to see this unicorn, and if they don't see the unicorn, then they're not going to believe me. Yet I can say that, well, I'm really a woman. Well, you don't look like a woman. Yeah, but I feel like a woman. Okay, have you got boobs? Well, no. Have you got a vagina? No. Then you're not a woman, are you? All right, well, I'll have these boobs put on, and I'll have me knackers and everything cut off, and I'll have a nice little vulva created for me. There, I'm a woman. No, you're not. You're just a bloke with women's parts. You're still not a woman. You can't be a woman. People want to take offence by stating this, but if you've got a penis, you're a lad. If you've got a vagina, you're a girl. Anything else that's in between has got to be a mental issue. It can't be anything else. Everybody can be confused about things, but to think that a 5-year-old who doesn't know whether they should play with cars, a doll, or go out on the bike, thinks that they should know whether they should have a penis or a vagina at 5, it's fucking madness. And I think it's the parents that have got the mental health issues and not the children. I think it's the parents and society that are putting all these issues onto our kids. You've got kids who can't fucking use standard language now at school. You've got people wanting to use transgender bathrooms. And I think one school in Liverpool actually put a glass wall up so you can actually see into the toilets. It's just fucking mad. I don't know what happened to the world. It's just gone bonkers.
Completely fucking bonkers, mate. Listen, you carry on talking because I'm just trying to get the Facebook Live going again. It seems to have stopped. I don't know what we're doing. Listen, you're listening to Raconteurs News. Monday night, it's the 12th of March 2018. We were due to have Kenny Humphreys on tonight, who's a paedophile hunter, but he's had a few problems with his Skype, so we've not been able to get him on. But there's me and Webby, we're talking. So, Webby, why don't we... I'm desperately trying to keep away from the bills of exchange. But what we
now you want it, do you?
No, I'm desperately trying to keep away from it. I'm just thinking about all this fucking shit that's going on at the moment. What do you think the real agenda that they're hiding is? Because we've got all this crap. We've got fucking Jamie Carragher spitting in someone's face. Does it matter? Does it fucking... Do we give a fuck? No. Oh, by the way, it spat in a young teenage girl's face. Well, it didn't. It were fucking father that were fucking... that were fucking saying things, and someone were filming it. So father was saying things, so he spat at fucking father. But that's by the by. It means fuck all. And then we've had this gender pay gap thing that's been going on as well. But how much is that of an issue, really? Think the gender pay gap. How much of that is really an actual issue? And how much is just a right load of fucking bollocks? Because for me, I'm going to ask you this first, but I'll tell you why I think it's just an absolute load of bollocks afterwards. But what about this gender pay gap that we've been having thrown down as throats?
Well, I think there is. I think there is such a thing as what we could say is a gender pay gap. So I do think that some men will get paid a lot more than some women, but there's an interesting debate about it because it's not just down to gender. People don't get paid more just because they're a man. You know, it depends on what company you're talking about. There's an interest. This was done on that Kathy Newman interview with Jordan Peterson, where she kept going on about this gender pay gap, and he was saying, well, there's a lot of other issues. You've got, you know, if you're talking about the high-end jobs where you're talking about Wall Street and stuff like that, you're finding men who are not only, you know, psychopathic, but they're conscientious. They work 80 hours. You know, they work 80 hours a week easy because that's what they do. Some women will do that, but a lot less women than blokes seem to want to do that. You know, it's very easy to say, oh, well, I get paid more. He gets paid more because he's a man. No, there's a lot of things in between, but it's easy to point at men and women because that's the difference. It's the same what we were talking about the other day about the political parties. Labour will say, oh, Tories are bastards because of this, and Tories will go, oh, Labour are bastards because of this, and this. So let's all argue about this, and then all the rest of us idiots go, yeah, well, Labour got a point about the Tories with that, and oh, the Tories got a point with Labour about that. Let's all argue. But then everything in the middle is what they all agree on. And that's what neither party talk about, the stuff they agree on. Because if we start to debate the stuff they agree on, that would actually start to shake these fucking foundations. And what you were saying, Jason, is that the reason all this, in my opinion, the reason the Jamie Carragher stuff is being blown up, I mean, I just think, what a fucking dickhead. What a bell end. You know, get over it. Get over it. You're a dickhead. You're a dirty bastard. If you'd have spat at me, I'd have ran you off the fucking road, mate. Whether you're one of my footballing heroes or not, you spit in my direction, I'll fucking ram it down your throat. But it's the stuff with the gender stuff, the pay gaps, the unions, the political parties. Everything is aimed at us to argue about fuck all whilst they rob everything. And that's what we're in now. We are being asset stripped. We've been asset stripped for years. It's just been ramped up over the last 30 years. And you know, it's obvious. It is obvious where it's going, why it's happening, and what it is, what their agenda is. They want to collapse this economy. We haven't got the people or the resources, the skills to actually keep our infrastructure going on our own anymore. We don't build, we don't manufacture. We give degrees out in stacking shelves instead. These are things that, you know, I know one man who is in his 60s now, but I know one man who can actually, from scratch, build a fucking boat. Worked at Camellards for years. He can build a boat. His apprenticeship project was build me a boat. And he built a fucking boat because this lad could build boats. Who could build a boat now? We'd be fucked. How many Noahs have we got? Fucking God comes down, we're knackered.
I was going to make a point this weekend on Saturday. Actually, I got my coat out, and I was going to football on Saturday, and I got my coat out, and it had got a down side. The seam had come apart, so it were a big. It's a green coat, and it had a big white bit because the seam had come apart. And so, and it was on one side, and then on the other side, it was a smaller. They were a smaller cut. They were smaller like gap. So, I came upstairs. I got a needle and cotton, and I sewed it up. Right, I sewed them up both sides, and I sewed them up, and I sewed them up, and I thought to myself, I said to my wife, I said, "Can you imagine a kid nowadays knowing how to sew? How to sew?" And that was one of the first things I learned at school. I remember it so well. In junior school, we were taught how to sew, and now and all these years later, 40 years later, and it's come to fruition. I've not had to go out and buy a new coat because I've been able to sew up my old coat. You know what I mean? And that's the sort of thing that I think that we're losing from everywhere. Everything. Nobody can read a map. Kids these days would be fucked if you give them a map. They'd be fucked. They wouldn't have a clue. They wouldn't have a clue.
That's exactly right. If it's not a sat nav, they're fucked. I mean, I could read a map by the age of 6. 6-year-old, my dad had taught me how to read a map, and I knew how to wire up plugs at the same age. You know, I could fit a plug at the age of 6.
Yeah,
kids don't know anything anymore. You can't have conversations. They seem to speak in sound bites. You know, they've heard something of a statistic on the TV, so they'll regurgitate that. You know, it's brilliant for football and films and stuff like that. That's the type of your mind that you'll use for those statistics. But it's skills like what you've just been talking about. I mean, the fact is that I was shown how to sew. I would never have wanted to sew, but I could do it if I need to. And that's the difference between the skill sets what my parents left me with, because if you know, I can fit all self-taught, right? But and I'm certainly not. Wouldn't say I'm a master of any of them, but I can fit kitchens, I can fit bathrooms, I can hang doors, I can do bits and bats with the car, all this kind of stuff, electrics. I've got an idea about. I've got a good knowledge base, but kids these days don't know anything about that. They know how to turn something on and turn it off. That's it. And my mate, he makes quite a good living. He gets 40 odd grand a year. And he says 98% of all my problems in my IT department is fixed by turn it off, turn it on again. And if we've got to that society, Jason, then we are going to be dependent on a lot of people who are telling us a lot of bullshit. You know, oh, this is true, this is fact. So we're being taught everything as fact that isn't quite fact. So we've got all these theories that we're taught of as fact, yet when you question the theories, well, it's our best possible guess as to what it is, because in mathematics it's very complicated and there's this equation and that equation. Yeah. Forget about the mathematical equations, because mathematics doesn't always transfer to reality. And, you know, we've had the discussion before about the elephant hanging from a cliff with its tail tied to a daisy. In maths, that can happen. It's not going to happen in reality. So let's say, yes, that's our best guess, but it's not real. And I think Nikola Tesla said that he identified that there was a massive split in science where it was people were more going to the mathematical equations and what reality could be, rather than let's do this experiment and see what it is. So there's no hard experiments to try and define something anymore. Our best guess is all we need. That's what we seem to be predicting.
The best guess becomes gospel, doesn't it? Their best guess becomes gospel. Listen, you're listening to Raconteurs News Monday night show. We were supposed to have Kenny Humphreys on with us, paedophile hunter, but he's having some problems with Skype, so we've not been able to get him on. But myself and Paul are here, and Andy is there as well. And I'm sure we might hear something from him in the second half as well. So we're going to stick around. We're going to keep talking crap, but we're going to play a couple of records, have a bit of a comfort break. What have we got something lined up, Andy?
Yeah, we've got a couple of tunes lined up. We've got the first one from what's he in the chat room tonight? Fucking Bin Dippers. So first one from Heath, and then the second one is by way of explanation about Kenny not being on. So you'll get it when you hear it anyway. We'll be back in about 8 minutes, yeah?
I'm gonna have some fun with this one here. Woo-hoo! In the morning, when I wake up, all I want is marijuana. In the evening, when I'm thinking, all I want is marijuana. If you what I've done. Every minute, every hour of every day. But life is like a smoke. In the end, I'm gonna choke. So all I do is live my life from day to day.
Oh my God, you know you better watch yourself because I know you're waiting on that one. Cause I'm telling you consonant. Cause you know the one that I take off for a run. You let me see you do that run. Run the one that they clan that they would have done. Cause I know you cannot bring me now what you wanna do. Cause I'm about to break it down me solely. Cause you know you cannot fade me now. Let you wanna. You better back it down now because I'm telling you. What bar, bun bar, can I wonder? Because you know you like the way I put that pick up. Cause I'm telling all your fools what happened, and in a mercy. Now what you wanna do, and in a mercy. Now what you wanna do, and in a mercy. Now what you wanna do, and in a mercy.
If you look in my eyes, you will see what I've done. Every minute, every hour of every day. But life is like a smoke. In the end, I'm gonna choke. So all I do is live my life from day to day. You got to lick it, stick it, bend it, crease it, stack it, burn it, pack it, roll it, poke it, roach it, smoke it, then you pass it to me. You got to lick it, stick it, bend it, crease it, stack it, burn it, pack it, roll it, poke it, roach it, smoke it, then you pass it to me.
Come on, baby girl, let's get it going on. I'ma hit the highway and do it my way. It ain't no game, girl, so I don't play games. I keep it up straight, right up in your face. So make your mind up, cause life is too short. I got the vest on, boy, put your belt on. Stop acting all cool like Kanye West, boy. You be riding through the wire and the camera get on fire. You don't want that, no, I don't want that, no. This goes out to pimps and chicks, so slow. Hit the backseat when you're doing the licking, kissing, squeezing. Do the damn thing, man.
You got to lick it, stick it, bend it, press it, stack it, burn it, pack it, roll it, poke it, roach it, smoke it, marijuana to me. You got to lick it, stick it, bend it, press it, stack it, burn it, pack it, roll it, poke it, roach it, smoke it, marijuana to me. You got to lick it, stick it, bend it, press it, stack it, burn it. All I want is roach and smoke marijuana to me. In the evening, stick it, bend it, crease it, stack it, burn it, pack it, roll it.
bit wheezy. But anyway, welcome back to Raconteurs News with my wheezy phlegm and all that sort of stuff. We're supposed to have Kenny Humphries on with us, but unfortunately he's having trouble with Skype. So it's just me, Webby, and Andy. Andy's there as well, I think we should probably get him in this second hour. We're just talking out of our arses, as usual. But what better radio can we have? And we were just talking in the break. We were just talking about one of our rivals, our rival radio stations, Richie Allen Show. And I did notice that tonight they've got John Hamer on. John Hamer's a guest that we've had on, well, we had on about 2-3 years ago. 2 years ago, didn't we, Andy, when we first started?
Yeah, it must easily be that. Yeah, it's good 2 years ago.
We've had him on a couple of times. He's written a couple of great books, but it seems Richie Allen's finally found the gemstones, which sort of tallies in with the Jeremy Bamber people that he had on a couple of weeks ago that we've had on twice before he's even heard of them. So we were just talking about the problems he's had with his YouTube channel. What do you think to that, Paul?
Well, I can't add anything to what we added about it last week. It just seems very strange that there seems to be. I mean, I'm not privy to any other information, only my own opinion, but it seems that there seems like a bit of ego in the fact that he seemed worried that his ratings or his show was being based upon possibly being affiliated with davidicke.com. For me, I wouldn't see that as a problem. I would see that as something that is helping me to get my platform out and be able to get guests on and get information out there using a platform as like that. But all of a sudden, within weeks of him pulling away from that, his YouTube channel is crashed and shut down. He's saying that he's never going to have another YouTube channel for the rest of his life. Now he seems to have a YouTube channel. There's definitely something not right about it, but it's all conjecture at this moment. But what was your view on it, Jason?
Well, for me, my view on it is that David Icke's put a complaint in, and his YouTube channel's been shut down from that end. I think it's David Icke. I think there's been a big split there. I don't think we know everything that's gone off. In fact, I think we know a fraction of what's happened. But I think that David Icke's probably done a copyright claim against him, and because half of the time it were in association with David Icke. And David Icke's channel's not been pulled down, has it? And you would have thought that if they were after somebody, they'd go for the big cheese rather than the Richie Allen show. Who again? We don't know what the reasoning behind it, but like you say, to me it seems ego-led. We had an association with Autonomous Media, which we ended. We ended amicably. We just walked away. There was no need for anything to be, for any disquiet or anything like that. But for him, I think the split from David Icke, I think it was ego driven. He was sick of being. I think he was probably sick of being the voice, the mouthpiece for davidicke.com. And I think he probably decided that he wanted to go off with his mate Hayden Hewitt, who runs Live Leak. Well, you know that one, don't you? Oh. Yeah, his mate's Hayden Hewitt, isn't it? It's who's on who runs Live Leak. Is it Live Leak? I'm pretty sure it's Live Leak, but it's one of the video sites. So, and I think that what he wanted to form an amalgamation. He was in an amalgamation where David Icke was always going to be the top bod. And I think that he wanted to have a different amalgamation with other people that perhaps he may be able to be the top bod, if you know what I mean, because he's got the highest profiles, and that for me is what happened there.
You mean he kind of wanted to go from being a smaller fish in a larger pond to being a big fish in his own pond?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, that's what I think. And good luck to him. You know, he'll always be. No matter what happens, he'll always have that association with David Icke, doesn't it? Won't he? No matter what happens, if David Icke, if someone comes out about David Icke or whatever, he's going to be associated with him. And I don't know whether you see, our channel's not gone, right? We tell truth. Our channel's not gone. We've had some amazing interviews with people, but it's not gone, right? There are certain ones that have been going, and I don't know whether they're either. I just don't buy it. It's like it's just too simple to say that YouTube. And we know Facebook is censoring, because I know it myself. There's things that I post that I know, like that I posted a picture the other day with them two women off that Nationwide advert who play a piano and sing a song, and it was just a picture with "Shut up, you pair of cunts," and you know, and then I knew
They
that
received death threats and everything then because of that advert.
Well, just go.
Because of that advert.
If we just go back to the Richie Allen thing, we got a great comment, a rather amusing comment, I thought, on our YouTube channel from somebody called Papa Bear. And if I can just read it out, he said, Richie Allen constantly tells us how vile the BBC is, but also constantly tells us how amazingly well trained he is because he used to work for the BBC. I didn't hear you calling out Savile when you were at the Beeb, Richie. Bit of a hypocrite.
Yeah.
Well, this is where it starts to fall in with the, you know, Jason loves to quote it, the most listened to independent radio show in Europe. You know, it's all well and good having all these figures, and, you know, he's had some good guests on his show, Richie. I would have loved to have been able to sit down and have a chat with him, but as I've said once or twice, that every medium I've tried to contact him on, I've just been completely ignored.
Well, you do realise now you've got no fucking chance now you're involved with us two.
Definitely. I can see doors closing right in front of me.
Completely, yeah. You're never going to get on Richie Allen show after you've been associated with us. But I you know, I sometimes have a bit of a banter with him, so it's not a bad. I won't say it's a bad stick. I just think that he's. Well, I don't listen to him for a long time. I find it sycophantic. I find it, you know, everyone's terrific and marvelous and ace and great, and I just don't like that. Every single guest, you know, you're much cleverer than I am, and I'm quite a clever bloke, and you know, and you're much cleverer than I am, and it just, you know, I'm always, my background is in mainstream media. Don't we fucking know it? Because all you ever do is fucking crawl up people's arses. That's all you ever fucking do. So, listen, Richie, I love you, but you've just got to fucking calm it down a bit. And I don't know why. I don't know why him and David Icke split up. For me, it were like shooting the fucking goose that lays the golden egg. I mean, that was his fucking ticket for everything, weren't it? Really.
And that's one thing that I don't understand, because, you know, it wasn't seen that he was sponging or anything like that. I think it was utilising a decent platform. I mean, at the end of the day, the information that I wanted to put out, I needed a platform. Vinnie Eastwood was the first one that gave me that platform. Nobody else wanted to talk to me. So the fact is, I go on Vinnie Eastwood's show, and within a month, within a month, that's thousands and thousands of people that have seen the what I was talking about. And the funny thing is, it still gets fucking mentioned at work that every time I'm on the radio show, oh, you're putting your Family Guy pyjamas on with it. Because the first ever fucking show I did, which was Vinny's, he only sent me the MP3, so I thought exactly what it was a radio show. Well, the next thing I know, my fucking Facebook page is loaded with videos of me sat in my Family Guy pyjamas, scratching me fucking balls because I didn't realise I was on video. And the bastard had put them out. So there is video footage of me in Family Guy pyjamas scratching my balls on my first ever radio platform interview. But it's come on, 100-fold since then. Obviously, Andy, you interviewed me with Tom on a different format years ago. And for it to come onto this now, and then I think tentatively all three of us were saying about 3 or 4 weeks ago that there's something changing here. This Raconteurs news thing started to get onto the crest of this wave, and we're looking down on a lot of other people. And I don't mean that derogatory. I mean a lot of other people because of the amount of guests that were getting on who are coming on and openly being honest and talking about their subjects. It doesn't matter whether people disagree with people or not. The fact is that people are coming on to give out information. You said it, you hit the nail on the head earlier, Jason, that it's information that gets given. We look at it, decide what we're going to do with it. We file it either in the fucking bin or we put it somewhere to one side and say maybe that'll come into play in a bit later on. And I think that's what this radio show seems to be on that cutting edge of it now, if you like, because what was it, the one with Gordon, that information, 70,000 views by morning on YouTube alone. That's a lot of views for one night. You were talking, Jason, about videos going viral. That first video that I ever did, that I put on Mark Ceylon's channel, which was 25th of December 2014. That video's just on Mark's channel alone, without all the shares. It's over 70,000 views. That's viral for me. That is absolutely viral for me. It doesn't, maybe if I'd have put a cat doing a funny thing in the background, I might have had a few million hits by now. I don't know.
Well, you definitely would have if you put a cat in it.
I needed a cat as well.
Maybe you should have had your Family Guy pyjamas on, Paul.
Family Guy pyjamas, cat. That's what I need. Scratch me balls while my cat falls off the wardrobe. That'd have been me done then.
You could have got Jason.
What? Bills of what?
You could have got Jason to come round and have a tin bath on the floor in front of you as well.
Mate, I think there's. If I could take a photograph of Jason sat in the bath looking at me and you, Andy, I think that could open thousands upon thousands of memes just from that photograph alone.
You're terrible. You should be watching people in bath, You should turn your backs while we're in bath.
Well, it has something to do with... Oh, you won't see anything. What?
To be fair...
You didn't see anything, did you?
There wasn't a lot to see, was there?
No, but I saw enough. I saw more than I wanted to fucking see, put it that way. But,
yes. While you're on that subject, I think we should be in a position to give ourselves a pat on the back and say things are going well at the moment. Like I said before, we've had a lot of, since we've been doing Raconteurs news. We started a couple of years ago. In fact, 2 years ago in January, weren't it? So, but after, we've had a lot of ups, and then we've had a lot of downs. And it's not been easy, but we're still here and we're still broadcasting and we're still doing our thing. So I think we should give ourselves a pat on the back for that and allow ourselves to suck each other's knobs for a bit. So here we are, and we're still broadcasting. We're still here, Andy.
Yeah, well, I think you're right. Yeah, I think. to keep going after what we've been through. Okay, we haven't been shot at or run off the road or anything like that, but we've certainly all each been through our trials and tribulations, and we've come out the other side maybe a little bit stronger. Personally, for me, I think the turning point has been you kind of taking the main seat, and I've noticed your openness and passion seems to really have made hit a mark with people. Maybe I was just a little bit too diplomatic, bit too much of a fence sitter sometimes. Was you can never be accused of that. And
what you mean, Andy, is you never called anybody a cunt. That's what you mean, isn't it?
yeah. But no, I mean, I think people there are a lot of people who don't like swearing and won't listen because of that. Fine, there's a million other internet radio channels that you can have your fill of, but some people do appreciate the down to earth, honest. This is this is me. This is what you get. There's no airs and graces, and some people love that and respect it, and I'm one of them.
I think that's what it's all about. The fact is, Jason he shoots straight from the hip. If he doesn't know about the subject, he's not going to argue with you about it, but he's going to ask you questions, and you're going to need to know what you're talking about to answer those questions, because apart from anybody can go off on a rant and use a lot of swear words, but if you can't construct those swear words formulate them into a sentence that is actually going to challenge somebody, then you're barking up the wrong tree. But Jason's always been able to do that, and I like the fact that you're not going to allow people to. I mean, the Neil Sanders interview, I'm sure he's probably used to a lot more people being a bit more diplomatic with him. And I said to Jason then, I was very amazed at how well he handled that interview, because I knew you could see it in your face, Jason, that you was getting frustrated at quite a few points on that interview. And it was because the interview seemed, in my opinion, it seemed to be he wanted to steer it in a certain direction, which was going on about what have you got against transgenders and what have you got against this? And that's not actually where the subject was going. The fact is, though, that it'll only get so far before you'll go, fuck off, and you'll cut them down and say, this isn't right, this. Whereas, your Rich Allens of this world, I've heard Richie get really pissed off with certain guests, but he's never gone to the point of, because maybe it's because of his mainstream media training, I don't know. But I think the general public prefer. I think honesty is it's still like a revelation, isn't it? It's an unusual thing to listen to a radio show and people speaking honestly and using swear words. There's nothing wrong with using a swear word. It shows that you actually care about stuff, and sometimes it actually accentuates the point.
Well, I didn't really. Thank you for them kind words. All I can say is, Luke, we're a fucking team, and we do a team effort. I can just be myself. That's all I can be, and I don't want to be anybody else, and I don't want to be or do anything else. I just want to, just be myself, and that's what I try to be.
Brilliant. I've just seen while we've been discussing that, Super Leeds. Oh, now he can't be Super Leeds anymore. Apparently, the chat room won't let him, so he's now Shitty Leeds. He says you ought to do a show out of the bath. That would probably get you either the biggest numbers ever on Facebook Live or get you banned forever. I don't know which. and he's saying he loves. Oh no, it's he's saying he loves swear words. People do. Oh, no, hang on, I missed some. Do you find it funny, Leeds says, that we all seem to be white, middle-aged and northern who seem to be waking up? I've been involved with people all over the country waking up, so I'd maybe dispute the northern bit, but the rest of it I would agree with. And he says, do you think it's because we've been shit on more than anybody else? And I think that probably is a fair point.
Yeah, that sums it up right. Well done there, Shitty Leeds. Shitty Leeds. Shitty Leeds. Thank you for that. It is. I think, yeah, I'd probably agree with you and say that the northern bit I'd probably not agree with, because we're all white and middle-aged, and we have been shit on the most, and we're probably the ones with the least to lose. You know what I mean? If you're a different colour, or you're a different creed, or you're a different race, there are protections that are there in place in the system that you don't really want to remove, because you perceive that they protect you. But whereas if you're white and middle-aged, and you're a bloke, there's nothing there that's protecting you. So what you're doing is you're trying to protect yourself. So you have to look out and find these things for yourself. So the majority of it, I would say the majority of people are white and middle-aged, and you've got to be middle-aged because, for a start, if you're young, you're fucking thick, aren't you? For fuck's sake, how thick are they? They are thick. The young uns these days are fucking thick, and I know this. You know what? I used to before I retired from DJing, the last one of the last clubs I worked in was a 90s bar called Babylon, which went from 90s to we ended up start doing 2000s, you know, songs from thousands. But I was there for how long were I there for? About 5 years. I was there for about 5 years. Now, Sheffield's a huge student town, city. That's all we used to get is students. And how I noticed that when they used to come up and ask for a record, they couldn't look me in the eye. That was the first thing that I noticed. Then I noticed that there were one particular girl who come and couldn't look me in the eye and were talking outside her mouth like this, and it was all weird. It was really weird. It was only when she would talk to me that she talked like that, but she talked outside her mouth, and it was fucking weird. And then I think the time when I stood there and I thought, as a species, we are fucked, was when this kid came in and he goes, and I'd never heard of this song. And I thought to myself, well, all right. And I found it on YouTube and I played it. And it was Gangnam Style. And he said, it's the future. And I thought to myself, you're in fucking university. You're probably going to be a doctor or something sometime, or a solicitor, or and what you're wanting me to. You've got me to play this fucking song that's a rape pile of shit. It's a rape pile of shit while you're pretending you're fucking riding an horse. You know, you want to fucking ride an horse? It's fucking. If you want to ride an horse, I've got an horse. You can fucking ride it if you want, but you don't have to pretend on a fucking. It was just ridiculous, and I thought to myself, "Oh my god!" And that's. I think that was the point where I thought, "I've got to get out of this. I can't deal with these fucking people. They're all idiots. They're all fucking idiots. They're all of it, and this is our future. These are the doctors, the fucking solicitors, the fucking the people that are going to be running finance. These are all these people that are fucking." And they're running about and they're fucking dancing to Gangnam Style, and they can't look you in the eye because they're not fucking. They've got no fucking social skills because they've been fucked up at school. You know, it just. When I was their age, I'd been around fucking world. I'd learnt lessons. I'd been fucking kicked fuck out of. Everything that happened to me. These fuckers, anything happens to them. And they're just fucking into, like, crying and breaking down, and the everyone fucking wins a medal generation. You know what we've got? That's why we've not got Brexit, because we've got all these people now who voted against Brexit, who are campaigning for us to remain. They're all from the fucking that everyone gets a fucking prize generation. They think if they're out of Europe, they're not going to get a prize. Well, they are. They're just fucking idiots. They've just been fucking bred into idiots. We just got these fucking bunch of idiots. And the problem is, and do you know what? I'm glad that I've got this fucking thing that I've got. This condition that I've got, and I keep having heart attacks and fucking strokes and that, because I don't want to be fucking old and be ruled by this fucking generation and have this generation deciding what's best for me. I don't want to be old. I'd rather be fucking dead. So, than have this fucking bunch of idiots who can't take any criticism whatsoever. You criticize them and they fucking just switch off and fucking run away. Fucking idiots. Idiot generation. And I'm glad that I've got something that means I'm probably not going to get very old.
Yeah, totally agree with you, mate. There's the problems that we have in regard to these younger generations who have voted to stay in Europe. It's quite clear they haven't got mind you, it's not just the younger generations. I speak to so many people who've got opinions on Europe, but it's based on nothing more than, why do you vote for Labour? Because my dad did. I grew up hearing that. Oh, I vote Labour because my dad did. It doesn't work for politics anymore. If you're going to be like that, you're just marching us in. You might as well pick up a tambourine and start marching us in with everybody else, because, as you just said, that these people haven't got a clue. They're going to be running things. They're going to run judiciary. They're going to run finances. No, they're going to get taught a financial system that is false. It's not true. People still think banks are lending them money. It's not happening. How can you then get that through to a younger generation who thinks that I need money? I need this £10 note. Well, what do you need it for? Well, I won't be able to buy anything. Well, you can't buy anything with it. You can only promise. And that's taken on a promise and trust agreement. That's it. There was a lady who I met last Wednesday. She said that her daughter's just left with a degree, honours degree in accounting, and she's looking to do this, blah, blah, blah. And she listened to me for 3 minutes, what I was saying. She said, my daughter wouldn't know any of that. I says, yeah, because your daughter's being taught a false system. She's being taught a system that steals everything. And if she gets her foot at the right level and she's willing to stand on a few faces, she'll get up that ladder and she'll make loads of money. But when we talk about money, is it real money? No, it's not. None of this is fucking real. So everything that everybody's arguing about is coming from a false. It's a false reality. Everything that we base our lives on is based on false realities, and the fact that we don't know who we are, we don't know how to act. You hear all these phrases, don't you, about the whole world's a stage and everybody plays the part. Well, that's really true, because we play a part no matter what if I go outside to go to the shop now, I'm going to play a part. How do I act? Well, if I don't know how I'm acting, I'm fully liable at all times, which is the public. So I don't want to be acting in the public. I don't want public liability all my life, but that is what the system does. It makes me publicly liable. Yet they're the ones with the bond who are damaging me. So the fact that they've got that bond and they're damaging me, that is my remedy. That is my recourse. But how do you tell that to the younger generations, Jason, who still think that, oh, well, I've got a penis, but I think I'm a woman, and then, oh, no, do you know what? That was an hour ago. I think I'm a bloke again today. I think I'll put my pants on. It's fucking madness.
it's this. I made this point yesterday. Yesterday was Mother's Day, and the amount of people that were posting on Facebook, "Happy Mother's Day" to my mother, and I thought to myself, just give me a second, hang on. I thought to myself, why? Why are you doing that? You know what I did? I bought a fucking bunch of flowers and I bought a card because that's what is expected of me, even though I don't fucking agree with it. And
hypocrite.
I took them over. I took them over to my mum, and I sent her to her. I said, "Look, I didn't post out on Facebook simply because this is more. This is real. This is real. It's not." The amount of people...
Did your mum say you're a fucking weirdo? Why didn't you post something on Facebook?
No, my mum were fine about it. She knows not to fucking argue with me. But I said, she doesn't really. Honestly, my mother fucking would turn me into fucking toast. But as I just said, this is a real thing. Posting on Facebook, all you're doing, if you post on Facebook that Happy Mother's Day, is you're trying to say, I'm a good fucking daughter or son or whatever, and I love my mum, and that's it, and that's all. You're trying to tell other people. Why the fuck do you want to, why does anybody care? Why the fuck do I care whether you love your mum? Right? It only matters to you. I don't give a fuck. I could not care fucking less. And the ones that really get to me, and I'm sorry to say this, and if anybody's done this, and I'm really sorry to say this, but it's the people that post up pictures of their dead parent, their dead mother, and say, "Happy Mother's Day to my mother in heaven." She can't see it. She's gone. She's on to the next thing. She's forgot about you already. She don't even know about you. That consciousness has gone. It's moved on. She can't see any of it. And so why do it? What are you trying to do? Are you trying to say, "Oh, my mum's dead, so I'm fucking here. Look at me, my mum. I'm an orphan or whatever." It's just fucking ridiculous. Leave it off fucking Facebook. Leave it off. Just, say happy birthday to my sister or whatever. Say it to them. Say it to them. Say it to them. You don't need to say it to every fucker, do you? Fucking hell. And that's what's fucking wrong, is people have got this mask, this image. They've got this image that they portray themselves. There's two people. There's three people. There's the person, then there's the human being, and then there's the fucking online persona. And the online persona, a million times out of a million, is false. It's crap. They're just showing you stuff. They're either showing you stuff they want you to see so that you'll envy them, or they're showing you things that will make you feel sorry for them. And that's fucking wrong. That is fucking wrong. A medium like Facebook, it shouldn't be for posting pictures of your fucking dinner. Fuck your dinner. What the fuck do I care what you fuck? I tell you what, take a picture of when you've had a fucking shit afterwards and all, and say this is yesterday's dinner. It's just fucking got to the point where we're sharing such inane shit. And we think that, look at this. This is a photograph of my child as they're in their uniform on their first day. Nobody cares. Nobody fucking cares about your fucking kid. They've all got fucking same uniform in same school. They've all got same thing. We've seen your kid before. We know what it looks like. Nobody fucking cares. For God's sake, take the inane shit off of social media. Use it for something that is actually fucking gonna do some good for humanity, rather than just some fucking crap like your fucking stupid dinner. Oh my God, so you've got a fucking roast dinner. Oh, well done. Well done. I've just fucking had a wank. You don't want to know that though, do you? No, you don't want to know. If I put a picture of me saying having a wank on Facebook, hear me, this is what I've been doing today, a bit bored, so I decided to have a wank. And there's a picture of me there with me fucking dick in my hand, and mirror with my thumb up and everything. Yeah, fucking hell. That's where we're going. It's fucking ridiculous. Fucking people think that the things that are really important aren't important at all to the people that fucking that aren't important. You know, this is where we're going. This is why we're fucking going down this fucking route, because we're just so fucking self-absorbed, and we're so self-indulgent, and we're so fucking we want so much to fucking to make the perception that other people, in fact, that's what it is. It's perception management. You're managing people's perceptions of you on social media. That's what you're doing. And if you're doing that by fucking putting your dinner up there, or a fucking picture of your kid in the fucking uniform, or a picture of your kid when it's going to fucking prom or whatever, then all you're doing is you're creating a fucking myth. It's a myth. You're creating a myth.
And next on Family Hour, Jason will be telling us how it's a waste of fucking time to put flowers on your dead mother's grave.
Fucking isn't it? Isn't it? It is. It's a complete fucking waste of time.
I know a lady.
I get what you're saying, mate.
I know a lady who left it in her last wishes that there'd be no flowers apart from a few from the family at her funeral, because flowers are for the living. So bring me as many flowers as you like when I'm alive. Don't do it when I'm dead. And I think that there was something very wise in what she said there.
I think it's each to their own, isn't it? I mean, my mum, my dad was killed in a road accident in 1988, and he was a long-distance lorry driver. He drove for Safeways. And because it was in the era of CB radio, there was a lot of people knew him up and down the country. So, my mum, when we got up for the funeral that day in 1988, my mum's driveway and front garden you couldn't see because of flowers. And from that day on, my mum said, "I never want to see any more flowers ever again." If people bought her flowers, they were given away. They were always given away.
That's personal, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's personal. I'm not talking about that. Personal grief is fucking. It is obviously. It's going to happen. It's personal. It belongs to you. It's those people that left them flowers didn't leave them just fucking out. And no, they left them because they actually knew him personally. So that's a personal thing. That's what I'm talking about. But now we've got this collective fucking grief that goes on online. Particularly when you get these, you get these. It's the online bit. This is what I'm fucking. I understand that when something happens to you on a personal level, then there's going to be grief, and you're going to grieve, and you're going to yada yada yada, right? What I was talking about is what I was talking about before a week. Sort of Mother's Day thing is people whose mothers have long since died, and if they want to go and take them some flowers, again, that's a personal thing. If you want to take flowers to the grave on Mother's Day, it's a personal thing. But to post online about it, for me,
there's definitely something narcissistic about it, isn't there?
For me, grief is something that's private.
Yeah, but
is like I didn't when we got these them Soham girls who went missing and were murdered, Ollie and Jessica, and their parents were at a Man United game just after, as the guests of honor, and I thought to myself, I'm a fucking father. If my kids had just been found dead, the last thing I want to do is go to a fucking Man United game.
Yeah.
But that's what they did. They had him there as guest of honour. It's like that Reece Jones. Remember that one? That kid in Liverpool that were killed, and his parents were at the Everton game not long after, because he was an Everton fan. And okay, fair enough, that's fine. But for me, grief is personal and it's private, and it's something that shouldn't be fucking spread everywhere. When I fucking fart, when I fucking die, I don't want people who never fucking knew me, who'd have nothing to do with me. I don't want them fucking trying to attach themselves to the grief that I've fucking gone, because it's fucking hypocritical. I've never been like it myself. And when I were when I were in my 20s, I played for a football team, and there were two of us that were jockeying for the same position, and he always got the position, and we never got on. Didn't like him at all. And then one week, he had an accident at work, and it killed him. He put his head in a concrete thing, and that were coming down and banging, crashing down. It were a concrete thing, and he ended up putting his head in it to see, because he thought it was stuck, and it come down and crushed his head. Right, okay. Now, I didn't go to his funeral. Everyone else in the football team went to his funeral. I didn't go to his funeral. And they were all saying to me afterwards, well, why did you not come? And I said, well, I didn't get on with him. I'm sorry he's dead. I'm sorry he's dead. I really wouldn't have wished that on him, but I didn't like him. And just because this has come across him, I don't want to seem like a hypocrite. And
I understand that. There's a few funerals of colleagues that I've not gone to because I don't know them well enough, and I feel a fraud. Feel a fraud going to somebody's funeral. It wasn't in that case what you're talking about that I dislike these people. I just didn't know them well enough to intrude on what you were saying, people's genuine grief. I'm not genuinely grieving. It's not a relation to me, but I've been to a funeral recently because I actually worked with this girl. I've spoke to her. I knew her. So even though I wouldn't say we were friends as such, I still knew her enough to go and pay me respects. And that's the difference. That's the difference between professional funeral goers. I know people who, fucking death of a fly people who turn up with tears.
Yeah.
And it's not my bag. I need to have, if I'm going to go to a funeral and pay respects, then I want to know the people. It would be like all these flag wavers that go to royal funerals. What are you paying respects to? Do you actually know anything about the history of these people? I know really good, honest, genuine people who think, oh, well, it wasn't the Queen's fault. She was just born into that job. I don't know where you start to try and, explain to people who are in that kind of mindset. The flag wavers. It's each and every one of you has got to look at where you are in your life. If EastEnders, Coronation Street, going to work and waving a flag is your life, then you've just got to get on with that. Nobody's going to change it. Nobody's going to convince you of anything else unless you want to go and look at something else. I class myself as very open-minded. Please come and tell me everything where I might be going wrong, because plenty of people have done it and put me right and put me back on the right path. I think without that, I think that's where the ego stuff kicks it back in, what we were talking about with maybe perhaps Richie Allen and that. You get that ego thing where you think it should be about you a bit more because you're putting all the work in. I've discovered all this information. I'm not giving it away for nothing because I've done all the work. Well, if you're going to do that, then nobody's going to benefit from anything. And for me, everything that I've ever learned, fucking here, have a look at it. If it's wrong, tell me. The trouble is, a lot of the stuff, they can't say it's wrong because it's global commerce, and you start fucking with that, you start fucking with everything.
Metaphorical joints, apparently fucking bin dippers, which I think is Heath, has pointed out in the chat room. Yes, I did have a metaphorical joint the other night when we were having a little bit of action, the other morning, sorry, when we were having a bit of action outside our house. Yes, I did have a metaphorical joint. No, I didn't kill somebody to play centre-back in a pub team. It was centre-forward. So yes, I've got to be fair. I wasn't that gutted.
Eh?
I've got to be honest, I weren't that gutted. You know, I didn't like the bloke anyway. I weren't that gutted. You know, when I knew that was it, there were no more opposition. I just fitted into the team like a glove, and scored. Well, I think I scored about 40 goals that season. But you know, I don't want to diminish the terrible tragedy that happened to Martin. I think his name was Martin somehow. I don't want to diminish that, but I weren't that bothered. I weren't going, and that the point was that I didn't go to the funeral. I had members of the team who said, "Well, how come you didn't go? Why didn't you go? Why didn't you go?" And I could have said, oh, I had to work, or I could have said I had to do this, or I had to do that. But I didn't. I just told him the truth. I said, "Look, I didn't like him. Why am I going to go to his funeral? Just to make sure he's dead? No, I'm not going to do that." No. So,
Yeah,
you know.
I had a similar thing quite a few years back. There was a guy in the town where I lived who was in a kind of crowd that I used to hang about with. Now, the real big tragedy happened. He was killed by another person, but he'd actually driven that person into doing it over many years with his bullying. He'd bullied this kid since he was a child. And I really didn't like this guy because I knew what a bully was. I didn't realise to what extent the damage it had done until I found this lad who killed him committed suicide afterwards. And I started getting stick for not going to the funeral. And I said, look, I used to drink with him, but I didn't really like him. He was a bully. And what he got was because he was a bully. And I'm sorry, but I'm really not going to be a hypocrite and go to his funeral.
Mm. Yeah. Listen, I've got this plan for my funeral. I'm going to make this CD, and it's going to be like this. It's going to sound something like this. So, they take me coffin into wherever it is, the Church of Satan or whatever, and it's out on the thing, and whoever it is doing the eulogy or whatever, and then they'll say, and here's a CD that we've got that Jason wanted, and then it'll go, let me out! I'm not really dead. I'm not really dead. Let me out!
Do you know what my mum always said to me when I lost my mum back in 2003? She always said to me that she would get to 70 years. She would have been 73 if she'd have lasted another month. And she said we used to always joke about it. She says, anything that you want for the funeral. And she said, no. She said, there's only one thing. She says, make sure I'm dead and burn me. She said, I don't want to be buried. She said, the thought of me waking up and being in a coffin, buried, is scarier than anything that she'd ever faced. And I said, right, so you just want me to make sure you're dead? She says, that's it. So I carried the coffin in, I put her down, and the last thing I did was, last chance, Ord. The last thing I did. Now, a lot of people might say that's disrespectful, but is what you said earlier, Jason. Grief is very individual. I mean, with the job that I'm involved in, it's very gallows humour, our job. And the factor is that you can't go to a funeral and just be grief-stricken when you're with colleagues like I've got. When it's the service itself, you will hear a pin drop. But before and after, you will just hear banter, laughs, exactly what that colleague would have been participating in had they not been in a wooden box. So I think as we were saying, grief is very personal, but I don't think anybody should be judged for how they deal with it on any level.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more than that, Paul. We have got a late request coming there from Shitty Leeds. I don't know if you guys are in a rush to get off, but he's saying, have we got time to talk about the Russian spies? Spy.
Shitty Leeds?
Yeah.
Shitty Leeds. Shitty Leeds. Is that a question from Shitty Leeds?
You enjoyed saying that nearly as much as you enjoyed mixing that Leeds football song into Boy From Sheffield that night, didn't you?
Yeah, this Russian spy thing. MI6. He's actually an MI6 spy, isn't he? He was a double agent, which is why he's been knocked off. Well, they've tried to knock him off anyway. In Salisbury, do you know about that, Paul?
Yeah, we did vaguely touch on it, but is it more beneficial for the Russians to bump him off, or more beneficial for MI5 to bump him off and blame the Russians? I think that's a very wide question, that, for me, because it's like, what was the other fellow? Was it Letvinchenko, was it? Who got stabbed with the umbrella?
Yeah.
When he got done with the umbrella, his own family came out and said it would make more sense for the British government to have killed him than Putin.
Yeah.
And because of all this rhetoric and bullshit that we've got to hate the Russians again now all of a sudden. This is just too convenient for me. And when you start asking the questions, it's like Theresa May's today saying, right, we're going to wait to see what the Russian state has to say about it, and then we'll deal with it. Because it's highly likely, Theresa May said, that the Russians have poisoned him with what's got to be said could be a weapon of mass destruction on British soil. This now escalates to that potential war prospect and whipping up, which is what they want. For me, it's all about occupying states that are helping that Middle East structure to just about hold on. The Israelis don't want to get involved with Iran because Israel won't last. But if they can get America to fight Iran and the Russians to fight America, then Israel can carry on doing whatever it is they're doing for whatever they want with the Greater Israel project, which is taking up land from virtually every fucking country that surrounds them. And, you know, if you want to start talking about Russian spies, it's just, to me, it just seems like a stepping stone for something else. You know, it's not about fucking James Bond stuff, this anymore. It's too fucking obvious. There's no secrecy about this anymore. It's like Keystone Cops. They're fumbling over each other. They're making mistakes left, right, and centre. And the fact is now, they're going, do you know what? Everybody can fucking see we're bollock naked here. Let's just crack on. Let's just do what we're doing and see who's standing at the end of it. You know, at the end of the day, they want to push this, and the likes of Tommy Morrison and stuff like that. Tommy Morrison is not a stupid man.
Robinson.
He's not a stupid man, Tommy Robinson. But the fact is, he's either allowing himself to be used or he's being used to whip up a lot of hatred. The migrants coming over, which is whipping up even more hatred. Where do they want us arguing? They want us arguing and fighting on the streets. They want us, we can't stop Parliament, it's full of paedophiles, let's go out on the streets. Look at what they're prepared for. All the police are militarised now. They are prepared for violence on the streets. If we give them violence on the streets, we give them everything.
Yeah.
Now, I think, you see, that's where I disagree.
Go on.
Well, I think violence on the street is an inevitability. I think
That's why they're prepared for it.
But you see, when you're talking about violence on the street, if you're talking about real unrest and violence on the streets, there ain't enough coppers.
That's why
coppers down. There ain't enough.
That's why the army's now integrated.
What? Sorry.
That's why the army's integrated into Europe. They won't put British troops on our streets, Jason. They'll put fucking UN troops on our streets, something like that, who will shoot on us.
They fucking won't, will they?
Will they not? They're doing it in every other country.
I don't think they will. I think they'll back down. I think they'll back down. There's not enough of them. I don't care how many fucking troops it's all been cut down. Everything's been cut down. But you know yourself, all these services, they've all been cut back. Police, army, everything, it's all been cut back. It wouldn't take much for us to be able to take over and get rid of these cunts. It wouldn't take much. I'm not talking about fucking I'm not talking about violence. I'm talking about assertion.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. The difference is not going out on the streets with fucking sticks and fucking guns and knives.
But being prepared for that eventuality. Not going armed, but being prepared for that eventuality. And, you know, there's people like me, and I'm fucking sat here, and I've been no use to any cunt because I can't really hardly fucking walk. But I think that it's going to take that, because we keep fucking having these false dawns. Look at Brexit. A couple of years ago, we thought, that's it, we're fucking done, we're out of Europe. We're not. We're still stuck in fucking Europe. We've still got cunts arguing. And do you know what? You know what happens is that the people that are in my mindset, right, are up against a bunch of fucking pussies that'll just fucking roll over anyway. So there wouldn't be any violence. It would just be asserting our rights, asserting ourselves as people, and saying, look, fuck off. We've been fucking doing this for how many years? And you're still fucking us up arse. All of you. No matter what colour fucking rosette you wear. You're fucking all fucking us up arse. Get rid of them, and we can fucking then bring in a democracy, like the old Greek democracy. Right? What you do is you get democracy where people don't become elected. What they do is they get called up. It's like jury duty. So they get called up, and they do a year's term where they have to fucking, you know, you're a member of parliament. You know, different people in different places. They're all picked up. I tell you what, after a few years of fucking shit decisions by fucking these people that aren't trained to be politicians, and let's face it, they're not going to be any worse than the shit that we've fucking got now. Whether you put if you put fucking Jimmy Savile in fucking as Prime Minister, he's not going to be any worse than this fucking shit that we've got now. So this is what we need to do. We need to get rid of all the fucking lot of them. Right, we have a new system in place. People get called up. They get called up, and you know what? You know when somebody gets called up and they're too thick really to do it, that's when education system fucking changes. Because you don't want to be fucking ruled by somebody who ain't got an education, who's not educated, who can't think for themselves. So that's what, you know, and you could be ruled by anybody because it's a fucking democratic system. It's a system where whoever fucking gets called up has to do the fucking job. So after a few generations of fucking thick people you're going to make sure that the education system's fucking spot on and that everybody can fucking do everything, and then you get a better society. And this is what we're fucking missing out on. This is what we should be fucking doing. Instead, what we're doing is we're fucking voting for these fucking faggots, these wankers. And I don't mean faggots in a derogatory way towards gays. In fact, you know what? If I said to a gay person, does the word faggot represent you? They'd say no. So I'm using the word faggot because it's a fucking derogatory term, and that's what these fucking people are. So get rid of the cunts. We get rid of the fucking locker room. It's going to be hard for a few years. How hard is it now? How hard is it going to fucking be if we allow them to just carry on and carry on and carry on?
Come on, Jason. I mean, even if you got some right simpletons running the country, making really piss poor decisions, we're still going to be better off than we are under the present system, where we've got a load of fucking plutocrats pulling the strings, and everything's done to siphon all the wealth from all the people up to that top of the pyramid there. I just think it's fucking disgraceful. But I mean, I think Shitty Leeds is making quite a few good points in the chat room. He's saying, take the coppers down and they're fucked. He said there's 42,000 in the Met. And who's going to protect their family? I mean, we're not advocating anyone go out and do this tonight. You know, you've got to get a bit more organised before you do it than that. But no,
if we take control of that money supply, if we nationalise the money supply and take it away from the private hands,
yeah,
that for me is 85% of the problems sorted, because the wealth will stop being siphoned off. You will be able to cut the debt, because whilst anybody is trying to pay their bills, they are making the debt worse. Every time you try and pay something with debt, if you're trying to pay a debt with a debt, you're going to make the debt worse. And that is what this system is designed to do. You're trying to pay for something that you can't pay. You're meant to set it off. That's how the debt is reduced. But we also need to introduce back to skills. We need to get to be able to build bridges again, make steel. We need to be able to do this stuff.
But don't you think that in order to do that, Paul, and to be able to make that step, one of the most important things we need to do if we're going to make these changes is to destroy, I'm not sure what to call it. I think Peter Dale Scott probably described it best when he called it the deep state, because there is a level of string pulling that a large majority of people are not aware of, and you've got to get rid of them fuckers before we can start doing it properly, haven't you?
Yeah, and for me, the civil service needs massive amount of scrutiny. The civil service is what controls our politicians. We don't control our politicians, and the civil service is controlled by the banking system. They're protected by the judiciary and the police. You start looking at that, then you'll start making real changes. You've seen it yourself, Andy, with these people in these higher echelons of what they call power. They actually believe that all this power is theirs, all these hereditary peer titles that they get, it's all theirs, and it's all based on lies. And all it takes is for every man and woman to start doing some research. Stop waiting for somebody to save you. Nobody's going to come and save you unless you want to save yourself. You can take that from somebody who's quite close to me, who's had a massive breakdown, who, when you shake his hand, I'm great, never felt better. He's gone. There's something snapped. You can't, but nobody can help him until he wants that help. You can't do this stuff without people getting involved. I think this year there's going to be less people who are sitting around on the touchlines because they simply can't anymore. You can't just sit around anymore because the system's getting that tight now. They are going to come start knocking on people's doors. If that happens, then it's a case of, well, you're either going to say, pull my pants up when you finish bumming me, or you go, do you know what? If you're going to bum me, you're going to have to fight me for this one. And I think every man and woman's got to take that in and say, well, what kind of a world do I want for my kids or for my grandkids? I want a better world. I don't want to live the shit world that my mum and dad brought me into, because everything that my mum and dad taught me about the world isn't quite correct. There's a lot of grey area. And when you get into that grey area, you find that a lot of the grey area is fucking bullshit and lies as well.
Yeah, absolutely. How long are we going on for, boys? We're on at 1:15. Shall we go to 1:30?
Yeah, I'm happy with that if you
Yeah,
are, mate.
I'll do whatever, mate, yeah.
Okay, well, you listen to Raconteurs News Monday Night Show, 12th of March 2018, with you're with me, Jason Holmes, and alongside me I've got Paul Webster and Andy Young as well. We were due to have Kenny Humphreys on this evening, but he's had some Skype issues, so we'll probably rebook that and get that one on again. If not, I'll probably get In fact, I might do that anyway. Just get a different pedo hunter on, get a different perspective. I just thought that I'd give Kenny the opportunity to come on again and talk to us. But he's not had. He's had a few problems with Skype. So we're going on till 8:30, so we've got about 16 minutes left, and we're going to play a record at the end of the show. Big hi to everybody out there who's in the chat room. Shitty Leeds, lockdown, how you doing? Keep going, boys. Keep going, boys. We've had from lockdown. I don't know that. Do you know that is, Andy?
Yeah, lockdown. That's Delroy.
Oh, right. Okay, Del. Good. Yeah, we'll keep going. We'll keep going, Del. No problem at all. And of course, he's in there as well. And a big shout out to Mandy Gold and John Hull, who are watching on Facebook Live. I hope it's still working. There's been a few problems. It's the second one I've had to do tonight because it's been going on and off and coming on and off. So, yeah. John Hall, Mandy Gold watching on Facebook Live and a few other people as well. So you can watch us on Facebook Live. You can listen to us on Spreaker.com/users/Raconteurs News. And if you go to raconteursnews.com as well, there's a player there so you can listen to us there. So, right, we've got about 15 minutes left, fellas. Where are we taking it? Okay, then.
Just going on to this
brilliant radio tonight, isn't it? It's brilliant, absolutely superb.
Going on to the deflection stuff again, what we were talking about with these Russian spies, that one of the major debates is now that should Russia be allowed in the World Cup or in sporting events? This again, why are we talking about this? So there's a major international incident where they've allegedly assassinated somebody on our soil that could have killed loads of our people. Oh, yeah, that's terrible. Hey, I hope they don't play in the World Cup.
Yeah, but it is an interesting thing that I think it was Chitty Leeds brought it up in the chat room. You were saying, would it be more advantageous for the Russians to bump him off or for MI5 to bump him off and blame the Russians? But what about Mossad bumping him off and blaming MI5 and making out they're blaming the Russians?
Oh, now you're just a conspiracy nutter now, as if something stupid like that could happen on the...
It's called problem, reaction, solution, isn't it? I mean, I've been looking into since the Kennedy papers, or some of the Kennedy papers were released, not the good stuff. I've been looking into a lot of that history. It was something I'd kind of got a bit choked with and kind of backed off from. But I've been listening to a lot of the stuff that Dark Journalist's been doing on that. And I think Forum Borealis as well. Al on there, he does some great shows. And yeah, wow. The spider's web that goes out from there and what it touches into is just fucking amazing. And it's all documented, historical, there's documents out the National Archive. It's not just speculation.
I think that's what we see that's coming out. I mean, I think the reason why we've been given some papers from these historical cases is because it's meant to be kind of, oh, well, these were the ones who were hiding everything. We're not those people. Look, here we'll show you some paperwork and stuff like that. The fact is, you can't just look at one thing. You can't just look at the Kennedy assassination. You can't just look at the World Trade Center. You can't just look at individual things and think anything but other than that one subject. But when you start to bring all these dots together and they do link up, and then you've got the likes of those shell companies that are laundering all this fucking money, what Gordon was talking about, 200 odd companies out of one address. This is this is just like scratching the surface.
Well, for me, I kind of cited the JFK assassination because it seems to me where there is the most evidence of the deep state operating and evidence of how it's evolved since the Nazis took over America at the end of the Second World War. And so you take that 50 years down the line, you can only imagine how far they've got.
Yeah, well, I like some of the work by a guy called Sergei Bezmenov when he defected from the KGB and went to America. And he said he couldn't believe that the cultural Marxism. He couldn't believe just how much of cultural Marxism was actually in place in the Western world when he actually got to America, and that was all about pornography, the splitting up of the family unit, and all this kind of stuff. Everything was there. He said, I couldn't believe it. So there's definitely, for anybody to say there's not an agenda when these agendas have been being peddled for hundreds of years, if the democracy that we so-called live in, it's centuries old, and democracy democracy would be 51% voting against 49%, the 51% carrying. Well, I don't want 51% of this country telling me what I can and I can't do. I know what I can and I can't do, whether it's wrong or if it's right. As long as I know that, then, and that's basically anarchy. If I don't need rules as long as I know what is right and what is wrong. You don't need a set of rules, but apparently society is trained to say that we do need these rules because people can't rule themselves, they can't look after themselves. And I think that's like the nanny state thing that's being given to us. I mean, when the Rockefeller Foundation and that supported the women's rights movement for voting and to get women into the workplace, was it to help women? Was it to make people equal? Or was it so they could tax the other half of the nation and take the kids from the family unit and put them into education? Tit for tat.
Yeah, look, if you think that this spy story, this poisoned spy and his fucking wife and this heroic copper that went to the raid, if you think that that's fucking real, then you're a bigger fucking idiot than I first thought you were for listening to this fucking show, right? Because that is not real. For a start, if there was a spy that was assassinated, first of all, he were MI6, weren't he? He weren't a Russian spy. He were MI6. And which is probably if he were assassinated. Sorry, he's not even dead, is he? But if he were attacked, it's probably because he were a double agent, right? He wasn't. If he was a fucking agent at all on any side, you would not know about him at all. I promise you, you would not know fuck all. This is just a story. It's something to keep you occupied. So you're looking and you're thinking, ooh, James Bond type stuff. It's like that one where they had that fucking body, that spy, that, you remember him who fucking chopped his own head off and locked himself in a fucking duffel bag or something. Fucking that.
Yeah.
In London. It was just nuts. It's just nuts. It's simply to keep you occupied. Yeah. And then you're thinking, ooh, there's all these fucking Russian spies about. Then what we got? Well, we've got fucking we've got World Cup coming up. Ooh, we can't be fucking going to Russia. But they'll go. Football team will go to Russia. All the supporters will go to Russia. They'll have a great time because it's a fucking beautiful place. And they'll go and have a great time, and everything will be forgotten about while the World Cup's on in Russia. Everything will be forgotten about. It was like when Winter Olympics were there in Sochi. That was another time where Russia were fucking teetering on edge, and then they had Winter Olympics. That must be 4 years. Wait, it must be 4 years ago because Winter Olympics had just happened again. So in Sochi, the Winter Olympics, the same thing. It were like, oh, Russia's this, Russia's that, and then it just shut the fuck. Everyone just shut the fuck up and just put Olympics on, Winter Olympics on. It'd be the same with World Cup. It's nothing. It's not anything. It's just a fucking stage show. It's like Trump. Trump's just a stage show, innit? He's a stage show. He's a fucking, he riles half at people up, and other half at fucking nation love him. Right, so you've got victims again. You've got these fucking people that are victims because, Bernie Sanders was fucking. If Bernie Sanders had been got the nomination, then the Democrats, he would have won over Trump. And now we're fucking, because they fucking fucked it up and they fucking fixed it so that Hillary would win it. Hillary won the nomination and she fucking lost to Trump. And so you get these people on one side, the victims, because they're told that they think that if they'd have fucking voted for, if they'd have got Bernie Sanders, he would have been victorious for him. And then on the other side, you've got Trump supporters who are fucking victims because, the people are trying to get the guns off them or do, they're trying to do this or that or other, whatever Alex Jones will come up with, fucking some shit to make Trump supporters victims. It's all about this victim culture. Who can be the biggest victim? And people like us, and I mean us, we stand in middle. We're not victims of fuck all. None of us are in better fucking health. But I don't feel like a fucking victim or anything. In fact, I feel fucking fortunate that I've been able to be on this medium and be able to speak to people that have made my life better, like Andrew Fletcher, like you, Andy, with the CBD oil. Like anybody that I've been able to talk to, I feel fortunate, and I feel rich through that as well. But these fucking people, they've got this victim culture. They've got to be the worst. They've got to be worse off than somebody else next to them. And it's sort of opposite of this narcissistic culture. So you've got this narcissistic culture online where people are saying that they're better than everyone else. But offline, they're trying to be a victim. So they're trying to prove that they're worse off than everybody else. Because it's not being consumed, it doesn't by multiple people. It means that they can consolidate that. They can use that. They've got two personas. People have got two different identities, two completely different identities of their own, and it's fucking, it's fucking ridiculous. But listen, all we can do is point it out to people, and then eventually, one by one, they'll come out of that, and they'll stop fucking posting pictures of the fucking dinner, or the fucking, the kid that's going to school or fucking whatever, or they'll stop doing that, and they'll start just. The best thing with social media, what I find most interesting with social media is I like to look at people's posts and I sort of. I don't make a judgment on them, but I try to work out the psychology behind them, behind what they're doing and why they're posting what they're posting. And fucking 9 times out of 10, I'm fucking right. And it's so easy to do, but what we need to do is we need to remember that we're all fucking individuals. We all need to be. We've all got the same needs. We need to be loved. We need to be fucking looked at and revered. But people try to do that online rather than in their personal life. You know what I mean? So we've all got this need to be loved. Yeah, of course we have. You want your mum to love you. You want your wife to love you, and you want your kids to love you and all that. It's just that people probably aren't getting that in real life, and are looking for it online and just grabbing at anything that they can get. And I think that's probably one of the saddest things about humanity that I can think of.
Well,
because people aren't getting the things that they need from the people that matter to them close enough. And again, it's probably because those people are distracted by the same things that you end up fucking on, because, you know, you're looking for that.
Don't you think if people were to go back through our back catalogue and have a good comprehensive listen, they would see quite a few examples of people who they've got an incredible online persona, but when you actually get them off their, if you like, their mastermind specialised subject and just kind of try and have a conversation, they're fucked. They've got nowhere to go. They haven't got anything. You know, how many people have we got on who've written fucking no end of books and all that kind of stuff, and after 10 minutes of a conversation, you're thinking, shit, this is hard work.
No opinion unless it's somebody else's opinion. And, you know, I know a few people who can write books, and some of the books aren't bad, but they're based on reading other people's opinions in their books and then putting your own slant on it. That's all well and good. You can make a good book out of that, but the fact is that if you've done that and you don't actually research the subject, or you don't even actually enjoy the subject, then how can you have a conversation about anything like that? And I think a lot of the stuff that's going on now, it happens and it'll cause this big furore, and then it dies away and nobody remembers stuff. It's like we were just talking about the Winter Olympics. Then, do you remember the Winter Olympics? Was it '86 in Sarajevo? That was in Yugoslavia. I talk to people now who say, "What's Yugoslavia?" Do you know what I mean? Sandy Hook. What was Sandy Hook? You know, that big, massive, you know, using me a bit of tautology, that big, massive school shooting in 2012? No. Loads of kids got shot.
No idea. People have no fucking idea.
Not a fucking clue.
Sandy Hook. Just look at like Aidy were talking about it when he first came on and started clichéing. He was talking about these elevator statements. You know, these things that you say to somebody. If I were in an elevator with somebody and I mentioned Sandy Hook, I'd fully expect him to not know a fucking thing, even though it's the worst school shooting ever, apparently, or something fucking daft, in the history of fucking America. And they would know nothing about it. Nothing at all. And then when I told them, they'd just fucking go and look it up on Wikipedia and see that shit. And that'd be as far as it went.
Exactly. So it goes straight back to the mainstream stuff. And yet there are multi-million-pound lawsuits against the people behind Sandy Hook, because they know that there's something not right about it. They know that there was a drill. All these other things have got drilled. Look at this Vegas shooting. This was terrible. Where's that gone? Nobody's talking about it. How did this fucking fella, who by all accounts didn't have any beef with really anybody, he had these ailments, he carried 30 fucking assault weapons upstairs with ammunition on no CCTV in a fucking hotel that's a casino? Are you mad? Not one CCTV camera picked up a man carrying 30 fucking assault weapons plus ammunition. Come on. People have got to start asking, but people don't ask questions. That's what the problem is. They just take a soundbite off the mainstream and say, "Oh, that'll do for me. That'll you know, plug the hole in the dam for another night. I can crack on with my life." And it's getting to a point where I always we've got a lot of test grounds. We've got a lot of test beds going around the country at the minute. Scotland, in my opinion, test ground for this fucking named person scheme. All the social services, that type of stuff, which is going to involve law enforcement as well as councils. So you've got all that going on in Scotland. You've got the over in Northern Ireland, you've got the mortgage and the banking scam, which is Agenda 21, where they collapsed the mortgage market 2008 to steal people's properties. You've got now in the Isle of Wight what Max Egan was talking about the other day, the 5G network. they're going to pioneer the 5G network. There's no voting been done on it. The council has just received funding to roll this stuff out. Now, I think, was it you, Andy? You said there's about 2 to 300,000 people on the population of the Isle of Wight, something like that.
Yeah, I think when we were talking, I looked on Wiki and it was either 180 or 190,000, I think. Was the number
so
on there.
let's say 200,000 people on an island. You roll that 5G network out and use it how it can be used, not super fast broadband. You know, everybody wants super fast broadband, but for the weaponized aspect of the 5G network, if they can roll that out and they get success there, they know that they can then do it to a county, and that's how they'll progress it. So we've got a lot of test beds going on at the minute, and the test beds are working really well. And it's about whether we're going to just accept this stuff because we're going to accept it as how it's going to benefit us, how it's going to make our life easier. I mean, 70 years ago, we were being told that none of us would be working by now. You know, robots would be cooking our tea, cleaning our houses and everything, and driving us all these places. It's not quite got to that, but it will get to that once they've got rid of enough of us. And they need us at the moment, but not for much longer.
I get a feeling people are really starting to wake up to the 5G and the frequencies, because I was just having a look through the stats on the YouTube channel the other day. In fact, I think it was this afternoon when I was talking to Jason, and out of all the videos we've done, I mean, there's 160, 170 RN ones on there. The 5th or 6th most popular was an interview I did back in the Enemy Within days with Barry Trower. That's for the last 30 days, so there does seem to be getting a lot of traction with the Barry Trower stuff. Because, I mean, he said bloody Wi-Fi that we've got now everywhere is a known weapons frequency. So, for Christ's sake, what's this fucking... I mean, I am really fearful for the people with fibromyalgia and ME, like Toddy, who came on and talked to us about the problems he was having, because when they turn this 5G on, if it doesn't kill them straight away, they're going to be in fucking agony. And my other half, she suffers with it, and it's only since we moved into a place with Wi-Fi.
It's a mad world, lads. But do you know what? I know we were talking about it earlier, that we've all gone through our own trials and tribulations, each one of us. But I personally, to be as happy as I am now, and to be in the position I am now, and knowing what I know, I'd go through it all again tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't think I've been through some shitty stages to get where I am now, but you know damn well if you changed any of it, you wouldn't end up being where you are, because you're a result of all your experiences in life, as well as your DNA and all that kind of thing. But I just want to say it's been a fantastic chat tonight, guys. Are you guys about ready to finish up?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's finish up, man.
Right, well, Super Leeds was saying, is it going to cost me 50 quid for this song? But I wasn't quite sure what he's on about. But I'd already got one lined up that I thought was perfect. You were saying how it wouldn't take many of us, so I thought we'd play out with 1 in 10. But I don't think it'd take anywhere near 1 in 10. So thanks, everybody. I'll give you the final word, Jason.
Well, we'll see you tomorrow night. Raconteurs News Tuesday night. We've got Steve Meara on. So get onto raconteursnews.com. Sign up there. You can sign up and you'll get emails and all that sort of thing. And on Facebook as well. Just do a search for us on Facebook, Raconteurs News. It's on Facebook. Join and like our group. And also you can contact us on Twitter at Raconteurs News, and I'm at Beckham Coverup. So, yeah, we'll see you tomorrow night. Thank you very much for listening this evening. We've gone on a bit longer than we thought we were going to, and we didn't even have a guest. Well, we did have a guest. We had ourselves. We'll hopefully get Kenny sorted out for another day, but we'll see you tomorrow night. Thank you very much, Paul Webster. Thanks, Andy, and we'll see you tomorrow night.
I am a 1 in 10, a number on a list. I am a 1 in 10, even though I don't exist. Nobody knows me, but I'm always there. Statistical reminder of a world that doesn't care. Arms unfolded, old malnutrition dulls my hair. My eyes are black and lifeless with an unprivileged stare. I'm the beggar on the corner, will no one spare a dime? I'm the child that never learned to read, cause no one spared the time. I am a 1 in 10, a number on a list. I am a 1 in 10, even though I don't exist. Nobody knows me, but I'm always there. Statistical reminder of a world that doesn't care. Murderer, the victim, I'm a license to a gun. I'm a sad, bruised old lady in an alley or in a slum. I'm a middle-aged businessman with chronic heart disease. I'm another teenage suicide in a street that has no trees. I am a 1 in 10, a number on a list. I am a 1 in 10, even though I don't exist. Nobody knows me, but I'm always there. Statistical reminder of a world that doesn't care. Starving third world mother, refugee without a home. I'm a housewife hooked on Valium, a pensioner alone. I'm a cancer-ridden specter, discovering the earth. I'm another hungry baby, I'm an accident at birth. I am a 1 in 10, a number on a list. I am a 1 in 10, even though I don't exist. Nobody knows me, but I'm always there. Statistical reminder of a world that doesn't care. I am a 1 in 10, a number on a list. I am a 1 in 10, even though I don't exist. Nobody knows me, but I'm always there. Statistical reminder of a world that doesn't care. I am a 1 in 10, a number on a list. I am a 1 in 10, even though I don't exist. Nobody knows me, but I'm always there. Statistical reminder of a world that doesn't care.